Welcome to the August Deutschen Pfest Steering Committee meeting. Call to order and then citizens communication. The committee welcomes comment on items related to Deutschen Pfest. Public comment that is made on an item that is not on the published agenda will only be heard by the committee. No formal action, discussion, deliberation, or comment will be made. Each person providing public comment will be limited to 3 minutes and will be asked to state his or her name and address for the public record. Do we have any citizens wishing to speak? Seeing none and hearing none, I'll go to item 3. Discuss and consider. So we missed, just so your heads up, we missed our November minutes, which was the after action from last year. And so this includes both the last meeting that we had as well as November's minutes to get us caught up. So item 3A is discuss and consider action to approve the minutes from the Deutschen Pfest committee on May 23rd. Motion?
Motion.
Awesome. Do we have a second?
Second.
Awesome.
Are we doing them as a group or one at a time?
I guess we can do them as a group.
Do you have any problems doing it as a group? Would your motion be for both?
For both is fine.
Second for both. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. All opposed? Awesome. So item 4, discuss only. So 4A is discussion regarding department and advisory committee updates. So we have quite a bit to tell you. We have had several special event subcommittee meetings with our council members who are on that committee. And so last time we were here, we had talked to you about an expanded layout. We have since talked to them. We've talked to city leadership. We've talked to other city departments. And everyone thinks that it's a good goal to move forward towards. The problem is that for this year, there's just not enough time and enough bandwidth to really make a change this big. So what we've decided is we're going to pull back. We're going to use a modified 2023 layout. We'll show you maps tonight of what that looks like. It does include a lot of improvements on 2023, so it's not copy and paste. But we're using that as our base, and then for 2025, we are hoping to move forward potentially with an expanded layout. Obviously, we will continue to seek your feedback on meetings like tonight to see kind of how we're doing on what the goals of Deutschen Pfest are. So here is the improved, modified layout for this year. So starting from left and moving towards the right side, so the green areas there, those are staff and operation areas. So park access, last year that was parking for vendors. This year that will be where the staff and volunteer areas are, so where the refreshments are at, where the police are stationed in the RVs. It's all of our kind of back of house. That white line you see, that is a fence. If you remember last year on either side of the stage, we had a fence with marketing on it. That is going to be that same fence there. So it will block all of the back of the house. It will have marketing branding on it. And what it does is it creates a run for us, EMS, PD, anyone who needs to move along the back, as well as the bands. It allows them to move back behind the stage without affecting the performers on the front side. The food vendors are in the red section, so that's in between park access and the volleyball court. With this expanded layout, we can now host, how many food vendors is it?
15 to 20. We have it broken down a little bit more further down.
We've rotated, so last year we rotated the stage kind of catty corner in that field. We've gone ahead and made the full 90-degree shift, so now the stage essentially faces Gillen Creek back there. You can see the concert grounds, and then there are booths on those sides of it. The Rotary is once again where it normally is. We'll talk about this a little bit more here in a second too. There's an additional beer garden that's there. All the blue dots, the bluish teal dots, those are all vendors. So you can see they go around the circle and along the tail. To expand the carnival layout, we have moved that to essentially Gillen Creek. So we'll talk about gates here in just a little bit, but we've essentially bumped the gates up. So the new fence line will be right here at Gillen Creek Pool. So this will be the new entrance. It used to be right here at this little bridge crossing, but now it will be up here at the pool. ADA parking will still be here. We're also working with our rideshare vendor, rideshare pickup and drop off. There's a new little like roundabout kind of thing here in front of the pool. That'll be our new drop off and pickup location, potentially for the Fetch a Ride. So let's go ahead and hop into some of this. I'm gonna let Gabby take over some of this.
So this is just going to give you a little bit of a visual of what the vision is for this year. Last year we ended up changing the logo, and then we also gave Hans an update, which was giving him a little cowboy hat, still keeping the German feel, but definitely leaning into the Texas and German culture of our town. So if we go to the next slide, this is going to give you a visual of what we're aiming for in that area. Basically, throughout all the park, we want to create opportunities for people to hang out, lots of picture areas. We want that dwell time to be longer, so we'll be adding hay bales, different hangout spots, and then, of course, the beer garden is something new that we're adding as well. I think we can skip next. Oh, nope, that's vendor stuff. So it was just the Rotary's tent, and that was like the beer garden, but never an official beer garden. So what we want to do inside of the main circle on the basketball court, we're going to add a tent there, and then we're going to have all of the vendors that are beer vendors at the event be access and entry points to get into that area. So everyone will hit a beer vendor when you walk in. Over the basketball court, that'll be the sitting area. We're going to do acoustic music in there, and then we're also getting a tailgating screen, which Baze knows all the specs of that, and he can share so we can show UT Georgia on Saturday. So, and also making more sitting areas in there. We want to do the classic runner tables, just adding to that German feel in that whole space.
If you remember last year in the concert grounds area, there was that giant white tent with seating under it. People really, really loved that, but then it took up a lot of the space where people could just normally sit for the concert. So essentially our thought process is moving that from in the concert grounds into a beer garden style area in the middle of the event.
I love that. And who are your vendors?
The beer vendors?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the beer vendors are nonprofit vendors.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, I think the only people that have actually applied is Rotary. Paws is normally hooked up with Three-Legged Goat, and Prost has been working with our new Parks Foundation to be a third option. So we think right now we'll probably have 3 beer vendors again on site somewhere over the facility, which will equal 3 to 5 booths somewhere on site outside of the facility.
Did the website get updated so people can put in their vendor applications?
Yes, we do have a tab on the website for
Okay.
vendor applications, and they are open. We have a post that is going out today on our Facebook. That it's out already. It is out, so we got a post out already. So if you
Beautiful.
have people, just refer them to our socials.
Part
I
of this
do.
and part of this beer garden area is an Explore Pflugerville opportunity for comms and some of their initiatives for what they're doing to help people get out and know more about the Pflugerville brand. And so they will have some really cool, I don't know if they're ready to talk about it all yet, but we're going to have some really cool things there with some collaborations of artists that hopefully draw people in, and there's going to be a chance to, I think, a raffle or a prize or something for something like that. They're also helping us sponsor the tailgating screen and some of the other fun initiatives we're doing in there. So you'll see some Explore Pflugerville branding as well.
This is also an area where it may not be all of the competitions, but a lot of them, like maybe the beer stein holding or the pretzel eating contest, are in this area. And we've even talked about some additional ones. There's one called a Hammerschlagen, which is essentially a nail drive competition. So we've
So
talked
let
about
people get liquored up and then let them try to use a hammer and a nail.
it's very similar to the like who's the strongest. You hit the thing with the hammer, it goes up for the bell, but this is a nail and a log. So, and then maybe a keg squat, something kind of like that.
I can do a keg stand. I don't know.
That's a different booth.
If we need a booth for that, I'm your girl.
That's next year, phase 2.
Yeah, phase 2. So to give you a little bit more information on what the vendors are looking like this year, we've created 2 types of vendor levels. Last year we had 3. One of the concerns that we had is making sure that it made sense, like what are the distinctions between the 3 levels. So because of that, we ended up making it 2 levels this time. So our Berlin vendors are in the yellow along the trail. And those are our premium top tier booths that we have. And then we have our Munich booths, and that is along the rest of the circle for the event. And then of course we got food vendors over there on the left-hand side. And then we have our main stage like we showed before. So that's just a little bit of an insight on what we got going on there.
I have another real quick question.
Mm-hmm.
For the vendors for I've been talking to Pace High School and some kids over at Pflugerville High School that have stuff that they want to do and they want to like take part of a little booth. Do you have like a youth? Did we give any thought to the youth booths or
Yeah,
anything
we
like
talked
that?
about- we
or is
talked
that
about-
something that I'll just pay for and then donate?
No reason to pay for it. We've talked about the tail. So you got the circle, right? And you've got the tail leading to the kids zone area. That's probably a great opportunity potentially to have some youth booths.
Okay.
It's not in what we would call our prime real estate. When we put vendors there, they get frustrated that they're too far away from some of the stuff. First of all, we're hoping the connection to the carnival side draws more foot traffic anyways, but then having youth have their booths in that area to have our own little youth market section off our prime real estate, and as they go towards the carnival side, which will have its own food vendors and its own carnival stuff going over there, we think it's a pretty good connection point.
Okay. So who do I connect with for?
You would just have them also do the vendor app. So the
Okay.
vendor app doesn't charge when you submit the application.
Okay.
It only charges upon approval. And so we have the ability to go in and review
We
everyone.
do
and
need
things
them
like
to
that.
make a note that they're a youth vendor.
Okay.
Because we'll compare them differently than if they were actually selling an artisan
Okay.
hat or leather making goods or something.
Yeah, and I did tell them that they'd probably be sharing because if we had 3 tables, it's 3 people, and we could figure it
We've
out.
got some room over there. We got a little real estate.
Okay,
We can
so
really grow a market of youths.
it would be awesome because they're actually there's a group going to Florida to compete for their, I don't know what it is. It's some youth business leadership quality skills thing. So that would be a great thing for them to start off on. So
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll have some pretty specific
Okay.
rules on, they have to provide some sort of artisan, some sort of craft or something,
Tangible good.
Yeah, because if they're not, then they're a community vendor, and we do have a different spot for them this year, but it's not in this footprint.
And everybody knows what pace is, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the hot sauce.
It's the awesome high school that has the highest graduating percentage here in Pflugerville.
Gotcha. Oh, or that.
Hey Jonathan, I had a question on the beer garden.
Yeah.
event. Is it gonna be similar or the exact same as the one that was in that concert area last year, or is that still TBD?
No, so it will probably be some kind of event style tent like that. As far as what the seating and decorations look like, this is going to be our inspiration for it.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah, the only reason I mentioned that, like the photo in the top towards the middle, that's great because you have shade, but then airflow is like
Just didn't tell me.
Oh, you're talking about
question
this
mark,
one?
right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
like,
So, yeah.
That one was more so for the
Yeah.
trail that we
Gotcha.
were looking at.
Yeah.
It's the vibe, but it will
Yeah.
be open just like that.
Yeah.
We
One
looked
thing
at
we've been
options.
working with our tent vendor too is to see if they can get us a taller tent.
yeah.
So that's one
So-
thing, because I come in just under the edge of the tent anyway, because the edges are normally 7 foot. So we've been working with our vendor as well to see if we can't for a number of reasons, that being one of them. Lift that edge of that whole tent up a little bit in that area.
Yeah, 'cause
just to
of
give
the-
it a little more open feel.
Yeah, because if the sides were covering, then maybe fans or misters or something like that.
Yeah, I mean it'll still be open.
Yeah.
360, but yeah.
Gotcha.
Hey Juan, they can't see you. Can you?
We got to put you on the table
Yeah.
if you're
Oh, are you?
one of the things that pick up sound.
I'll go sit next to you.
Come on over.
Pardon my crumbs.
Can they see me over here?
Yeah. Well, see you here. I think more than anything, to make sure we public record or whatever.
We can go to the next one. So this is what our food vendor area is gonna look like. This is just our projected plan of what we're looking at. The one on the left-hand side with the 15 vendors, that's all 12 by 24 booths. And then the other side with 21 is 12 by 12 booths. So it can be interchanged. We're looking at creating seating areas within that area too. Standing tables, little picnic tables, all kinds of stuff. We really want to increase that dwell time and then create an experience that we're just not walking into a field, getting food, and then walking out of that field. We really want to enhance the environment of this event this year. So we're good on that one.
And to give you a heads up, last year we had, was it 12?
Food vendors?
Yeah, 17.
17.
17 food vendors. So in reality, we'll probably be right around that because not everyone will be a double booth and not everyone will be a single booth. So we'll probably be somewhere in the middle on that.
Another point of of note, I guess more than anything, this area is the only area that doesn't really have a lot of electricity, doesn't have a lot of infrastructure built in for electricity, and we're not planning on dragging any electricity to this area. Food trucks inherently come with their own onboard power of some sort. We don't provide electricity for Slice or any of our other events. Everyone brings their own power. And last year, of our 17 vendors, I think we only had 6 of the food vendors that even used the food. And if you pull out a couple, those were alcohol and food. And alcohol are staying in the footprint, so they'll still have access to electricity. Very few of our food vendors used used our power. They used their own. So if we're dealing with a one-off or whatever, we might be able to make a concession somewhere back on site or figure out a way where they're closest to electricity. But the plan isn't to have a generator and a bunch of cables running over there for potentially only a third of the people to use them.
How's the foot traffic supposed to work there? Like, are they going kind of through the volleyball court area? Is that?
So there is an opening in that area. Right now there's like a picnic table blocking it,
I
but
gotcha.
there are trees, so we wanted to make the trees like the archway / entryway. So we will be decorating that. In the field, we did discuss the possibility of like having a bunch of people in that field and how do you get across. So we would like to mark the ground, kind of similar to what we did with Slice, like painting the grass to show that there's designated areas that you can walk. So we have put some thought into this. We don't want to exclude anybody, of course, but nobody's going to miss out on the food. So we know for sure people will be in that area.
And the community fair, when we get to that layout, is scheduled on Saturday, which is something I think we've talked to you about previously, potentially trying to do it on Saturday. But when it ends, the fun run in the community fair ends, we're going to be funneling all the people through the trail, and they will all be walking past the food. So the 300 or 400 folks that do the event, do the run, do the community fair, and then they come to the event for free, are all going to walk right past the food truck folks. So kind of, and they should be hungry because they
Better be hungry.
did some exercise. So.
And then just as a reminder, there behind these food vendors, there will be a fence with that marketing on it. So that way the back of house stuff is not affecting these food vendors. So we'll be using this to, drive the ambulance in and out, load in bands, load out bands on this trail right here.
And then again, this is just a little bit of a zoom in of what the back of house is going to look like. We will make sure that back of house is just us. It's just going to be staff, emergency services, and then of course the committee that can go and be back there. So we will put attendants over there, which will help with the parking situation that we had last year that kind of got a little chaotic with all the vendors trying to come in that way and then maneuver. So very minimal foot activity back there other than us. So this is a breakdown of the carnival and what it looks like. If you look at those 2 little sections on the left, they actually connect. It's hard to tell. It's just showing that little space. So something that we plan on doing for the carnival area this year is we're going to integrate the touch-a-truck that we had at Slice of Pflugerville. So we're going to bring out PD cars, we're going to have the fire truck there, we're going to have park staff machinery out there as well. We are also going to program this area differently with like, what did we say we were calling it? Like we were doing entertainment lineups for that kid area. So we're gonna do like a balloon show with a balloon twister, and then have those specific performers like, you know, petting zoo people come out with exotic animals and stuff like that. And then the other pink area on the other side is where we plan to put our food vendors and then all those carnival type rides that we had last year at this event. And then of course under that pavilion, that's gonna be a hangout area, somewhere we could do shows. There's a lot of potential in there, so we're very excited for expanding into this space.
Go ahead.
So for Carnival, what exactly are we talking about?
Very similar to what we had last year because of the footprint that we had going on with our hope to expand and then taking it to this area. It's very difficult to make that happen with that footprint. So we're really hoping that next year with that bandwidth that we're hoping to gain to expand the event, we will have that full-size carnival next year.
So are they gonna pay per ride, or are they gonna pay like one price and have access to all the rides, or?
Yeah, we're gonna do it similar to that we did last year, where you're gonna pay to get in, but everything that's in that area is free. You will
Okay.
not have to be charged for anything.
So
over there.
ultimately, when we get that traveling carnival, when we give them a footprint big enough that they're willing to come out, and then how we work on payment is we get a percentage of what they make. So then we want people paying to come into that booth, and we're gonna get 30% off of whatever they bring in or whatever. But right now, since we're just booking it, and it's in a footprint that's really condensed, we're gonna do what we did in the last couple of years, the last 4 or 5 years, which is, as you know, rock climbing walls and bounce houses and some really cool carnival things, but it'll all be free, part of the overall cost of the experience.
And then we're currently talking with one of our parks commissioners, if you want to.
Yeah, Amy Rapp.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Amy was our previous Deutschen Pfest chair, and she is working at Hendrickson High School, and we heard back from her again this week. The Fortlandia concept that happens in Austin, where the school kids build things that sits in an installation and people can play on it at Zilker Park. She was really interested in doing something like
What was
that.
that, Lady Bird Johnson?
Lady Bird, okay.
Yeah.
So Austin is just one park.
It's
I don't
really
know what
cool.
it is.
It's cool.
I was just gonna name a random park,
the
Geese
kids.
Park, and hope it happened, yeah. She wanted to do some sort of concept like that. Year one, it was tough to wrap her head around what it was gonna be, especially when school years just started, and only a couple weeks really until D-Fest really kicks off for them. But they are going to do a couple installations. So they're gonna do some structures, they're gonna have them out in this kid zone area, and so not only will we have the carnival stuff and the balloons and some really kid zone specific like funnel cake vendors and some corny dog vendors, things like that, and ice cone type folks. But then we're also going to have these cool little Fortlandia type things to play on too. So we're really hoping to create a really cool little family area, petting zoos, things like that.
So the fun run this year, the event is 2 days this year. We did get that confirmed. That is just going to be Friday and Saturday.
You can have your Sundays off.
And Sundays are off. Woo! We're excited. So we're going to be moving that fun run into the morning on Saturday as the kickoff for the event. So like we talked about before, that we want that run to happen. It'll be basically the exact same thing as last year, the same route, the same community fair that's going to be happening in Finnick Park. But the addition to this year is the community performances that were taking place over in the pavilions and the gazebos. They will be taking place at this community fair. So there will be entertainment in this event that transitions into the full big event. And we're hoping that'll help bring out a good little crowd in the morning as well with those dance groups and stuff like that.
For those of you who were part of the committee last year, if you remember, we had the gazebo and then also the pavilion with performers. I think everybody felt bad that no one was listening to them play. They were some really talented performers. And so we as a staff looked at it and were like, how can we actually put the focus on them rather than having them feel like they're competing with the main stage? So areas like this and in the kids zone, we think are great options for that. And so that's why we're pursuing that, is trying to spotlight those types of performers who are maybe not a main stage performer, but are really talented, and we want to see their performances, and this gives it a chance to spotlight them. It also gives us a chance to spotlight those community vendors. Previously on Sundays, that Sunday kind of felt like a little bit of an afterthought, almost like a different event altogether. So we feel that bringing the fun run and the community fair in wraps them into the fold of Deutschen Pfest and gives it that continuous feel, creating that continuous experience for someone who's in the fun run, but then also right after the run is almost running back into Deutschen Pfest.
Solve some problems for us too. Friday nights have always, since we moved to the fall, Friday nights have been well attended. Even with football games going on, even with all the busy fall schedules, you know, a nice crisp Friday night with some really cheap entertainment and access to alcohol, you know, that's a pretty easy thing for people to wrap their head around. Saturdays, though, has always started slow. You know, it felt like for a while it was taking a lot. It took a while for the population to build at the Saturday event. With the community fair being free, with the fun run having 300 to 400 people in it, and then all that ending at once, and all those people being able to come into our side over here, we feel like we bumped the event back an hour or whatever to accommodate for some of that stuff, and now we're bringing everyone this way. So what we're doing is we're bringing a population to Deutschen Pfest Saturday morning that wasn't always attending Saturdays in the past, and so we're trying to get people coming in earlier. You know, the people that did their fun run in the community fair and their kids that performed at the little Valley Folklorical group. What are we doing now? We're here for an hour. Let's go over and check out the carnival and check out the entertainment. And I heard they got pretzels over there, and Dad or Mom are going to try their hand at the Hammerschlagen area. And so then they, you know, we're starting to load attendance earlier in the day on Saturday too, which is great for the vendors, great for the performers. I think it's better for us overall.
And coincidentally, if you're coming from the community fair with kids, you have to cross the entire event
Yep,
to
food
get to
truck,
the carnival.
everything.
So,
Yep. So, which is great for all those vendors.
so item 4B, so regarding Deutschen Fest
I
2025.
guess
So
any questions about A?
yeah, does anyone have any questions about anything that we covered in A?
Okay.
Any thoughts, suggestions?
For us, the good thing about moving the food truck over, moving our staff over, moving the food truck over, it allows us to get more programming space in the footprint. So even though we're not able to expand like we were kind of hoping to do, we're still able to expand a little bit in the footprint we were last year. And I think we'll see more vendors and more programming than we've been able to offer in that space in the past.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
So, what exactly is the committee going to be doing at Deutschen Pfest?
Yeah, very much more like hosts. You know, would be great to. First of all, if you want to volunteer all day in a green room or help with gates or all that stuff, we're not going to turn any of that down. But I think you had gates last year, right?
Yeah.
So your responsibility for 2 straight days isn't going to be gates. We're trying to make sure.
I'll be running.
There you go. Awesome.
I'll be in the fun run.
We're going to make sure we're going to try to staff all that. But we want y'all to be hosts. We want y'all to be ambassadors. We want y'all to help in certain areas. Just be an extension of staff in spots. If there's a youth market that you're particularly passionate with and you want to be the point of contact for that area, that really alleviates a lot of stress for us. But it was a directive from City Council that this commission in the past did a lot of boots on the ground work that no other commission was responsible for. Equity Commission, Parks and Rec Commission, Planning and Zoning weren't required to give up 48 hours of blood, sweat, and tears and regret ever serving on a committee at the end of the weekend because you're exhausted. And so our direction is to make sure we provide an event for the public, that y'all give us advisory opportunities and give us direction and feedback on the type of thing we're working on, and that we put y'all in a spot to really be those ambassadors for this event, to greet people, to welcome people, to walk around and not be so much worried about if there's vendors in spaces, but walk around seeing if people are having fun and walk up and say, hey, I'm from the Deutschen Pfest Steering Committee. I see you look upset, or the kid's sad. What's going on? Can we help out? And so You're a lot more front facing than I think you've been in the past. In the past, y'all were much more operations and logistics, and y'all were just as tired as we were at the end of the weekend. And now it's much more of a liaison role. You're the conduit between the city and the event itself. You know, if you see a citizen or if you see a concern, you're bringing it to our attention. You're reaching out and talking to those people. You're helping in those spots where community and service happen. But that being said, if you want to volunteer from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night, we'll take it. We'll take all the help we'll get because we'll be sourcing volunteers through city portal, asking citizens to volunteer 2 or 3 hours, and when they do, they get a chance to attend that day for free. And we'll be asking our employees who get some overtime opportunities to volunteer, and we will get some public works employees and finance employees and others that have an opportunity to get some overtime or some PF Cares time to serve in that capacity. It's kind of on all hands on deck for city employees. So I think everything that you want to do, you'll have the opportunity to do, whether it's be in charge of a section or be the main point of contact in that section, or just kind of, greet people and see people and welcome people and guide them around the park and show them the layout and take any concerns or comments they might have.
I just wanted to make sure I still had a walkie-talkie.
Yeah, we'll give you a walkie-talkie. We'll give you a golf cart if you want.
Okay, how do I sign up for that?
We'll give her a golf cart.
Just walk up.
I have one. Can I just bring my own? I'll just bring my own. I have one.
I'm not gonna promote that.
Which is also why I'm on the mobility master plan. Because I really want those golf carts.
That's a new event.
Right? A golf cart parade.
You ever heard of lawnmower races? People bring their lawnmowers out there?
Yeah.
Throw a V8 in a
Maybe that's phase 2. Maybe that's next year.
So just a quick update on Deutschen Pfest 2025. So obviously we've talked a lot about the expanded layout. We are still pursuing that as something for next year. And as a part of that, to get that bandwidth, we are wanting to, as we nail down things for 2024, we are wanting to concurrently get plans set for 2025 so that hopefully early next year we can bring this as almost like a full plan forward to say here's what we would like to see in 2025 for Deutschen Pfest.
Because here's the thing with what they say, insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting
Yeah.
a
That's
different
the
thing.
definition of
If
insanity.
Right.
we load into Zumba's really popular. We're gonna have fun today. We load in to Deutschen Pfest, staff heavy, right? Then we're exhausted, then we recover, and then this events team for sure works on the parade. So then leadership gives them a chance to recover, and then y'all are up for re-election or appointment. Yeah, but half the people rotate off every year.
Oh.
So, because if all 8 of y'all rotate off at once, then no one would have any idea of what had done previously. So it's 4 on, 4 off, and so there's always at least 4 new reappointments, and then we have our first meeting in January, February, and then if we start then in
We should.
February or March
We should.
to try to move this to a 2-park footprint, council will always say that's a great idea, but there's not enough time. You only got 6 months left, But if we can get consensus from this group that while we're preparing for 2024, we start to plan for 2025, we're not asking 6 months out. We're asking a year out
I
potentially.
love that.
So,
And that will specifically be helpful for us too in getting bookings. So
but we'll also probably have meetings because we used to, after Deutsche Fest, we wouldn't see y'all again until February. So we will probably have more meetings to make sure we're on track with some of the stuff.
But that makes sense for strategic planning. Like at my job, we're literally planning for 2025 right now. Like today, we just had a meeting about it, so it makes a lot of sense.
I feel like I'm in the wrong.
That used to be upstairs. It got so popular, the only room they could put it in was.
Sounds like heavy metal.
They are having.
And it sounds like a lot of
do you want
fun.
to share
Yeah.
the
Zumba?
marketing?
It's a different type of Zumba, I guess.
I just don't count that. Oh,
Not a
we
head
want
bang.
to.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
so.
We're we missed something in 4A.
Oh, going back. Yeah, because we have a cool announcement to make.
Yeah, we're going to go back. We got a little ahead of ourselves. So Gabby has something she would like to show you all.
This is our event poster for this year, if y'all want to pass it around. It has our 2 headliners.
You will see the names on there.
Friday and Saturday headliner. One, here you go.
Oh, thank you.
Bart Crow, never, Range Road band, nope, never.
Who are they?
So Bart Crow is a Texas country artist, and then Ranch Road is a Texas Tejano band, and they do country as well.
Bart Crow he's one of those guys that has a one hit that a lot of people has a huge following. So
I believe he has 145,000 people on his Facebook, so we're very excited. Our goal for this event is to do exactly like we did with Slice of Pflugerville with Those Lonely Boys, is to get those higher level, regionally, state known type people, and Bart is one of those people.
that's another thing about planning. If we're planning a year out, whatever artist you're thinking of might be available a year from right now. If we're starting in March or April, whatever artist you're thinking of is not available. Right? So
We asked and they were not available
we're
this year.
hoping that, when we pass around a poster in future years, you'll recognize the names a little bit more because we're already working on next year's talent this year as well.
With that being said,
That's
in
super
the
cute. I'd love
Texas
to hang them
country
up. Do you
space,
have
Bart's great,
questions?
yeah.
So this is just the preview of what we had. This was our, yes,
Okay.
because it says like space for sponsor logos at the bottom.
Oh, I
So-
didn't even read that.
He had
So,
Bart
this was-
hadn't signed till yesterday,
Today.
so there was nothing we could even show anybody before.
It's hot off the
What's
presses.
his name?
Bart Crow.
Bart Crow.
As soon as you hear his
Wonder if he's related to
first song on Spotify, you will instantly recognize who it is.
Texas country people will recognize it for sure.
Yeah, he's a big name in the Texas country. His most popular album was like 2012, 2013.
Don't play it right now because they'll flag the YouTube video.
the Zumba class moment.
Not sure Bart has the tempo for some.
So that is our goal with entertainment. So
Is he like? Never mind.
He's not related.
It says
to
I'm a
Alvin.
pastor. I'm passionate about Christ and all, but I must be reading the wrong person.
Yeah, that's
Give
not
me
Yeah,
a
that.
second.
I think that. Yeah, but
Maybe.
That doesn't
Texas
What are you doing in
country
retirement?
music. We can loop back.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll loop back.
So the last thing that we want to talk about, item 4C, is discussion regarding future committee meeting schedule. Obviously, we're getting into the busy time leading up into the event. We have, what is it, like 60 days left?
just under. It's
Yeah.
like
58.
58 days.
So,
I'd like to do a meeting on site too, I think at some point,
yes,
show you
Yeah.
the
I'd like
layout.
to do a walkthrough.
When it's not so hot, but. I don't know
So
if that'll happen.
that will necessitate not necessarily meeting on the same day every time, because we'll have to plan around when we can get filming available, when we have rooms available, and if we're on site, that'll be a totally different thing as well. So we'll send out doodle polls. It will be for multiple days per week probably. So just fill in what you're available for. We will work our very hardest to try and make sure everyone's available, but if we can get a quorum, that may be what we have to roll with on some of the days as we get closer. So
I don't even fill those out anymore because every day I say no to is the day you guys pick. So I just stopped filling them out. And look at it, you picked a great day for me.
So just wanted to update everybody
Figured out
that
our plan, guys.
You're trying to get rid of me. Sorry, you're stuck.
so just wanted to give everybody a heads up that doodle poll will be coming out and it'll have a bunch of dates on it. So put everything that you are and aren't available for. And then we'll start scheduling some on-site meetings, maybe some meetings with vendors, things like that. So we'll start looping y'all in on those.
Groovy, I like it.
So before we adjourn, just, summary in some ways, we're bringing more food trucks. We've heard that people want to see more youth and we're trying to work in more youth opportunities. They wanted to see an upgrade in musical talent, whether you think Bart Crow is an upgrade in musical talent.
I'm from California, okay? It's
Right.
not my fault that I don't know Texas
That's right.
country.
It's not a Selena tribute cover band or someone that we would normally put on a music in the park night. Bart Crow, we're paying for his success that he had in the early aughts, and all of his followers that we're hoping that'll come out as
I'm
well.
gonna check to see if he's related to Alvin.
There you go. I don't know Alvin.
Related to Alvin.
But
Well,
I think we're doing the improvements in the footprint we can this year, but we're super excited that y'all are interested in us seeing an expanded footprint and maybe even better talent and carnival options in the future as well. So
Here for it.
awesome.
Thank you for all your hard work.
T-shirts is staying the same.
That's a
Oh, I
good
hope
question.
not.
That's such a great question.
I'm
I'm embarrassed that I don't even know about T-shirts.
I'll just sell T-shirts as long as I'm around.
Yeah,
so.
we will. I was like, I didn't even know. I didn't
We-
think we
will
talked
have-
about
And,
T-shirts yet.
and the reason I asked the question is because of the designs that we had and
Yeah.
Yeah.
people were submitting.
So I think we are going to try to lean heavily in that Guten Tag, y'all.
Oh, yeah.
That's really cool.
It's in the little bird.
Yeah.
Did we talk about that to everyone?
We did not.
Okay, so
Do what? Oh,
Guten
no,
Tag, y'all.
we did not.
So, when we start talking about Deutschen Pfest, people are either like, is it German because it doesn't feel German, or what is it? It's not Wurstfest, right? It's not Oktoberfest. And so we were really trying to figure out, because in some ways, when you don't have a theme, you're a little rudderless. And I think people have felt that over the years. They come and they're like, it was kind of German and it was kind of Pflugerville, but I don't really know what it was. And so we just started trying to figure out what's something that obviously is a hat tip to our heritage youth, our German history, that we grew up from that German base, but that's not what we are anymore either. And I think whether it's German centric, which at parts we're trying to make sure the Hans and the beer garden and some of those things, some of our greeting music, we got the accordion, the guy still doing some of that stuff, but then I think we can all wrap our head around the idea of what Texan is. And what's cool about Texan is that Texan is Tejano to some people, but it's the kolaches and German heritage to some people, but it's what Texas is becoming to folks that have coming in from California and other sides of the world as well that we're letting in. And so it's that what we're shooting for is it's that Guten Tag, ja. It's a little bit German, it's a little bit Texan, and what it really should be is no matter who comes, you should A, feel welcome, and B, feel like it connects to you in some way. And so, as simple as possible, we thought that Guten Tag, ja did that, which is kind of the German, kind of the Texan. And so we're talking about things that theme around that, whether you wear your lederhosen in and you get in free, but if you wear a cowboy hat and boots, you might get a voucher for a free beer, or something like that. And so
What if I wear cowboy boots with lederhosens and a cowboy hat? Do I get in free and a beer?
that's
I will do
that's
that.
the idea, right?
I will do that.
And so if we can do some Texas theming, if we can do some German theming, if we can kind of make people feel like this feels home to them, no matter what type of festival they were thinking they were going to find, we think it'll connect. And so a lot of what we're trying to do moving forward will be with the shirts and everything else, will be the Guten Tag, y'all type. It's kind of a little German, kind of a little Texan. More than anything, it's all Pflugerville, which we weren't really highlighting as much in the past. We were trying to be a little bit of Wurstfest. We were trying to be a little bit of Oktoberfest, and some of that stuff. And so instead of trying to be
Let's be
18
us.
other things, let's be
Yeah.
us. Yeah.
I have a question. I thought you said there'd be no charge, like there used to be someone sitting on the sidewalks charging people to come in to Deutschen Pfest?
No, that was what the
thought
other.
that was-
That's what they're gonna try to do
There
next
was
year.
two suggestions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
If we could get to a bigger footprint, we would like to have more vendors offset our overall cost, and then we don't think we need to charge. But right now, with the smaller footprint, we're going to have to charge.
So how much is it gonna be?
It'd be what it was last year. $10,
$10,
$10,
$10 and
$10,
$10 and $15.
$15.
Okay.
But if they buy a shirt,
Yeah.
they can get in free. If they do the race, they can get in free. If they volunteer, they can get in free.
If you
So
dress
Or
up in
gentle-
German,
dress up as German.
Yes.
I
we
have
might
that
throw
too.
in the
Hans
Texas
approved
too.
outfits.
Yeah.
I
So-
have that too.
There are some pathways for folks to be able to get in, and ultimately that's still the goal. But I couldn't do it in the footprint we have now. What I can't do is take this event to council and lose
No.
Yeah.
40 or 50 grand more than.
I thought
we-
it was ridiculous to not charge. That's just me.
And we're upping what we pay our talent. This year with Bart's a little bit more than the others, and so. And council is great about me not having to recover every dollar, which that you lose the quality of life component when all you're trying to do is recover your cost. That's the cool thing about quality of life is you really get to subsidize some of those things. But I can't just be a loss leader. I have
Wait.
to recover some back.
I have to write that down. Can you say that again?
Oh no, I'm no good at
It's
saying
on, it's on the recording.
yeah.
No, that was
Yeah.
brilliant. That was absolutely bbrilliant. What time is it so I can mark it?
I'm only brilliant when I don't mean to.
It's a gift and a curse.
46.
Kelly, I see you got a question.
That was a beautiful.
So marketing, when's marketing gonna start?
So marketing is semi-started. We have
kinda
vendor
see what we're trying to
applications
do,
going
yeah.
out. We are hoping to get this poster out. What is the holiday coming up?
Labor Day.
Labor Day.
Comms is behind you too.
Yes. So we are working together with a marketing plan to get stuff out. We have the event out on Facebook already. But we will be sharing more details about who the rest of the lineup is, how to get there, how to, all the details that come out. It will be pushed heavy in September.
A couple
going
of
into
Texas
October.
magazines we're trying to get it in.
Yeah, so we're in Texas Monthly and Texas Highways, so we're very excited. It's wonderful, which is why we put a little more love into this poster than we did the previous year. So we're very excited to see what it looks like, and we're about to jump full force into Deutschen Pfest.
I think we have to, as a group, we have to be the pace setters for the vision of what we want this to become. It can't be what we all think it could be become in 3, 4, 5, or 6 years tomorrow. And it won't be that this first October. But I think we hit on a couple things we're doing. We build the momentum. Council continues to support it. It goes to a larger footprint. We see more things. Maybe we're not charging, or maybe we're only charging at the carnival or certain spots. I think this really becomes something Pflugerville has always been proud of, but there's been a sense that I went to it 3 years ago. It's kind of the same that it was 3 years ago. We're trying to make it where it doesn't feel like that. So
You might. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So based on that, do we have parameters from city council as to how much money we have to make in order to expand for 2025?
No, I haven't talked to them. We'll actually meet with them next Monday, the subcommittee, and we'll continue to give them some of the talking points that we talked about today and kind of what we're working on. We've had a lot of support from that subcommittee on stuff. I don't have a 2025 budget, so there's been no concerns with yet to talk about that. And no one, like I said, I could lose 10 or 8,000 more than I lost last year. No one really gets too up in a dander about that. Overall, they just want to know that we're putting on a quality product and they're seeing a return on their investment for the most part. But I don't think I could make a huge drop where I just got rid of all the gates, without some sort of incredible 2-day footprint and huge turnout. And if we had something like that, they may be able to say, well, yeah, we had 15,000 more people and the vendors saw more sales, so we can wrap our head around losing a little bit more than we've lost in the past. And so,
And you're taking a percentage of the carnival and all
sure.
those different things.
So we don't have any of that direction yet, but I think we're going in a spot. We're continuing. Our event game has improved. This team's great. When you have Slice and you have Lost Lonely Boys, it makes the next Slice have to have a Lost Lonely Boys type talent. We haven't had that here yet. We've had some good musical acts, but we've never had this incredible one. I think Bart gets us closer. If next year we're at, we're Mark Chestnut or someone else that, and then, 2 things from that, you're talking about a more popular artist, even 2 years down the road. I think this event is an event that you'll see from the 6,000, 7,000 over a 2-day total. You'll see 10, 12,000 over a 2-day total pretty quickly, especially if it was potentially free in the future and you had a really quality entertainment as well. But we're just working on slowly growing that.
Building on our successes each year.
So this is a long-winded way to say no. I don't have anything.
Speaking of the growth and kind of looking at that, I'm always interested in the analytics. And I know when we debriefed last year, you were using kind of that Google phone tracking to kind of figure out where are the people coming from. And I thought it was very interesting that a big portion was coming from San Antonio.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that's still TBD on whether you're going to continue that. And, because it'd be really cool to see how the demographics and the geographics change for people that
Well,
are
the
coming in.
Texas Monthly and the Texas Highway magazines will be interesting. Another thing that we'll have to get support on with this group at some point is we probably have to change the date. When we moved this from spring to fall, Code of the Americas was just really starting to pick up their their speed. They weren't having the impact on the Austin area that they're having now. And so we had a couple year run where we had what we could determine from our research record years at Deutschen Pfest as far as attendance. But now Coda is, and we're still seeing great numbers. We haven't dipped yet, but it costs $500 more to rent something than it used to. All the hotel rooms are booked solid. So logistically it's costing more to get the same amount of people that we had in previous years. And so we can either continue to compete with Coda, and it's not so much compete with the people attending Coda, it's competing with the vendor providing the vendor opportunities. I mean, last year this group had to source a charter bus from College Station because that was the farthest out that we could find someone that wasn't attached to Coda. We lost our charters to Coda, and so
Move it to April.
right. Well, we might not move back to where we were at, but we're thinking if we go another week or two later in the year, where we don't go towards Deutschen Fest or Oktoberfest because we're not trying to be that, right? And we don't go towards ACL.
Yeah.
That's how little into music I am. But we don't go towards ACL. We don't go towards the Oktoberfest dates, but we go back the other way. Whether it's just a week later here or even 2 weeks later here, that gets us close to Halloween. Something like that. I don't think the weather's still that bad yet, but I think we could still do some theming around that.
What did you need a charter bus for?
So,
Shuttle.
Because they parked at like either the
Well,
high school
why-
and stuff.
Why didn't the school just say,
it's different. The ISD
Let's-
loses their transportation when it's not related to the school.
They have a
Like,
school
it's the
that
licensing of the whole. It's a
It's a whole shebang. And
Yeah.
like there's
There's
I'm like,
legal
gosh, there's
parts
already
to it.
buses
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Why don't we just
They're
do
their own
it?
business.
Just make it some school event.
You
Say
are
it's-
now
buses.
on a government
See,
committee, so you have to take ration and reason and just put it
Yeah. Check that
I
at the door.
feel like
outside.
here's the thing. I feel like
not-
if you
it doesn't
say
make any sense
elementary
anymore.
students can get in free, now it's a school thing, and then
I wish it was that easy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, we.
I don't.
Maybe
I
they
don't.
do.
I don't get paid the big bucks. I'm just thinking out loud here with my little brain.
We battle with them just to have parking opportunities.
Yeah.
That's so sad. We're all one.
That is not legally correct.
Yeah.
We are two distinct
Well,
agencies
we
legally.
should all be. We all just get along.
That work for the state, that don't work that way.
I live behind rose-colored glasses.
So, but yeah, I think we were able to do the improvements we talked to y'all about. Maybe not to the scale, but I think that scale's coming, and I think we continue to hit on some of our successes, both at this event and the other city events as well. It just makes the request and the ask easier every year. So,
I mean, I think really about the only thing that isn't necessarily going to be an improvement is probably the carnival, just for the lack of space.
yeah.
Yeah.
The physical land that it takes to be able to add in some much cooler things. Like I know we've talked a lot about the teens and the carnival, but we just don't have the space. So I think that's probably the one thing that we can honestly.
That
say
being
is
said, though,
it won't improve
when we
necessarily
co-locate
versus
it
last
with
year.
a zoo
Yeah.
and their own food truck areas and a little bit more entertainment, and it's not so disjointed where you have to go to each of those things but they're separate, I think the experience that someone
Yes.
experiences at the carnival actually will be an improvement.
I mean, it doesn't take much to make junior hires and high schoolers happy. Set up a couple bales and do some archery, do the axe throwing, do
That
the
is
little
not-
things. I mean, it's so much fun.
That is not a correct statement.
It really doesn't. Like, they're happy.
We will poll 100 teachers to find out if they believe it.
Do a survey monkey.
Yeah.
Well,
But yeah, I think we're getting there.
you're getting there.
Yeah.
You'll get there eventually.
Awesome.
Well, item 5, adjourn.
Yeah.
Motion.
Do I have
Motion to
do
adjourn.
I have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion carries.